So let me tell you a little bit about ecology in motion, which is my particular take on gua sha. So I haven't really explained it much, but essentially the name itself should tell you everything. So the ideas that I put together for ecological gua sha, I decided to name it Ecology in Motion because that's essentially what it is. And it's all about trying to understand what you're doing with gua sha in the context of ancient Chinese medicine, which can be a little bit different to what certainly I studied when I trained to be an acupuncturist 20 years ago. I studied traditional Chinese medicine, and what I do now is a bit different from that, and how I understand Chinese medicine is a bit different. And I think a lot clearer, and certainly based on the original texts of the Huangdi Neijing, which is pretty important for me, because if you can get close to those ideas, then that's the original stuff, and I'm not just making the stuff up. So ecology in motion is basically the idea that when you're doing gua sha, you're not just doing individual muscles, and you're not just scraping over the tissue, over the skin. What you're doing is something really profound, and you're actually connecting with what's happening in nature around you everywhere, and you don't really notice it because you're so busy, me included, with your lives, and then you just kind of not really ignore, but you just don't notice these things around you. So I might walk past these trees and I'll be lost in my thoughts and I wouldn't even notice they were there. And as quite often that's the case for all of us. But if you just stop and look and realize that, oh, hang on, these are really interesting. And then when you understand that the ancient Chinese, they actually used all of this in their explanations about how the body works and how you fix the body. That's pretty exciting. And so with ecology in motion, what we want to do is deepen the understanding of what you're doing with gua sha. And so yes, you're scraping the skin. Yes, you're freeing up muscle tissue, sometimes the scar tissue which is in there. Yes, you're increasing microcirculation in the tissue bed. Yes, you're acting on the immune response. And yes, you're reducing inflammation. These are all part of reports that have come out about gua sha. But that's looking at gua sha through the lens of the 21st century. And I think it's really important to look at gua sha from the lens of where it came from, which is Chinese medicine. And in particular, let's look back at how ancient Chinese medicine was rather than how Chinese medicine is right now, because there's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of political changes in China in the last 100 years. And that's affected gua sha and what we know about gua sha, and the whole of Chinese medicine. It's a fascinating subject, and there are all kinds of experts that you can listen to, and I'm not one of them. That's one of the things that I don't claim to be. The only thing I concentrate is gua sha, and I'm not a sinologist. I look at what happens in my clinic. I look at research reports, and I'm always pondering about gua sha, about what it does, what it doesn't do. And that's it. The other areas about Chinese medicine, I really haven't got a clue, because I think you've got to be centered on something to really try and understand it. And I suspect this might be the Japanese influence on me. And if you know a little bit about my background, I'm the only member of my household that doesn't have a Japanese passport. And so I lived in Japan for several years, and I was a flying fish fisherman, and I was an artisan. And that culture has really kind of stuck in me and become part of me. And that's certainly the case in Japan, is that you focus on one thing and you master that one thing. Japanese society is full of people who master that one thing, which is greatly respected in Japanese culture. So I suspect that might be behind my choices. So there we are. That's just a brief my thoughts about ecology in motion. And of course, if you want to have a look at it, then the level 1 course that I do on the Komorebi Institute website, that's introducing the ideas of ecological guasha. And then from then it then goes all kinds of different directions, and I'm still playing with it as much as I can. And then when we finally get back to our clinics and they're back to normal, then I can play around a lot more. So if you've got any questions about ecological guasha, then please put them below and I'll answer them. And like and subscribe like always.